Need to unmute ourselves. We're back. We're here. Welcome to the West Ham Network. This is not a rave, not a DJ rave.
Can't we do? Yeah, that'd be a lot more fun, though, wouldn't it?
It would be right now. It really would be right now. So I need to take that off. Actually, I don't like that. That's too. It's too bumpy noise. Yeah, it's too bumpy noise. Well, welcome back to the West Ham Network. Let's talk David Moyes. Stick or twist. Russ, mate, it's not looking good. We obviously played Wolves yesterday, Molineux. Yep. We got beat 1-0. And the fan base are, if you look online, the fan base are extremely Moyes out. And there's just a lot we can dissect. But what's out there, this is just a debate show. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chin wag. Let's have a respectful chin wag. Everyone's got their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion as well. So just put them in the comments. If you're interested in coming on, then you can click on this link. We've got a few guests coming on throughout the show as well. So come on and have your say. And yeah, go for it. But Russ, you've not had a chance to be on and say what you want to say. Do you have anything you want to kind of cover? Or
well, not really. I think it's. I was doing it from me. I'm a stats. I love my stats, and I was looking at the stats last night, and obviously we're at the halfway stage now. So we're 19 games in, and I'll do a bigger piece. I think maybe in tomorrow's show, but 19 games in, looking at, and I went back into like 20. I went back the last 10 or so years. After halfway through the season, looking at the three clubs that are in the bottom three, on average, 66% are down at whoever's in the bottom three after 19 games. So in some instances, all three teams are still bottom by the time the 38th game's happened. Most obviously for a number of percentages, it's two teams. A couple of times it's been one team. Not so out of those three, the chances are pretty much two of the three are going down. So something needs to change. Something needs to change. Whether and we're the same. I was listening to the voice of reason, Nigel Khan, recently, and he was saying that whoever's in the dugout gets my full support, and whoever it is, come Saturday, we know that by what Sean said, what X has said, that nothing's going to happen until after the Everton game. So there's no point really talking about, for me, it's about what we can do for that Everton game. So it is about when it comes to Saturday, making sure it's whatever happens after the game and before the game, it's about that 90 minutes. That it's crucial. It is crucial that we get a win on Saturday. And yesterday would have made things a lot easier, but it didn't. And you read reports that he was going to be gone if we didn't beat Wolves, but he's still here, and by the looks of it, nothing's going to happen until after the Everton game.
I think there's loads. I think there's loads of things to contend with regards to that. Obviously, there's a memorial service going to be happening before the game.
Yeah,
Moyes and Golden. I'm not trying to say that's the reason why he's sticking around. I think there's loads of elements as to why. I think there's loads of elements as to why he will be there for the Everton game. But I think we all know, and I think he knows as well. It could be bust come the end of the Everton game if we don't do it. I mean, Everton are in big problems, Russ.
It's the same. Big problems. Yeah. I know. It's but it's like you look at the Everton fan base, and it's a similar situation, but it's manifested onto the roads, isn't it? You saw the game after when you saw they put a statement out saying that the board were told not to come during to death threats and shit like that. It's like, no, that's ridiculous. That's too far. But you saw after the game, fans outside confronting like the likes of Mina. There's Anthony Gordon. Mina actually got out of the car and it's like, it's like, come on, you know what I mean? It's like, and then you've got Leicester as well. Look at Leicester. Leicester are in deep do as well. So there's 3 clubs there which potentially could have new managers maybe by the end, or not. It's one. I think one or the other will have a new manager by the end of next Saturday of Everton and West Ham. But there'll be 3 managers who are literally going to be fighting for Sean Dyche, basically, because in all reality, who's going to come in at that stage? You need a firefighter. And I think the summer's a different thing for us. We need to get this season done. We need to stay up. We need to, and maybe still have a good run in Europe, because that would attract a new manager coming in the summer, for example, if Moyes is not there in the summer. So you're not going to get a progressive manager coming, and I don't think with half a season to go in the bottom 3, with the fan base so toxic it is at the moment. I mean, people look at social media and stuff like that, potential, and I was reading today that, there was they'd love Pochettino and Tuchel. We all would love Pochettino and Tuchel, but we're not going to get Pochettino and Tuchel. We're just not. So it's like, I mean, I'm, me, I'm always a positive guy. I know it pisses people off, and it's not because of my association with the club at all. It's me as general, that's what I am. I'm a positive person. I'm trying to, and there's less and less positives. There are less and less positives now. Yesterday was shit. Yesterday was really crap. The game was, we weren't dreadful in terms of, we only lost 1-0. We didn't get drubbed, but we lost again, and we just couldn't score, and that's the frustrating thing. We've always had a strongish defence, and we're losing games by the odd goal, and now it's just adding and adding and adding, and it's got to a point there where why can't we score a goal? I don't get it. I do not get why we can't score.
I don't doubt for a second it's extremely tough to defend. I don't doubt that for a second, and I'm not trying to say I am defending him, because I came on the stream last night and I said, I'm swaying more towards Moyes out, really, essentially, than I am anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anything else, but that doesn't mean, to be careful what we wish for. We've been here before. We've done that. We've worn the t-shirt, and it really is about who else is out there. I think there was a clear-cut person that I think could come in and really make the difference at our club. Then maybe I'd be more swaying towards the idea of like, let's go get that guy, let's go get him. But for me, I'm hearing a lot of people saying things like Dyche, and I'm like, well, really, what happens if Dyche comes in? Dyche has taken Burnley down before, and he's not been in a team managing for a while. Now, he could come in a short-term, contract, if that's something that West Ham would look at. But what if he doesn't keep us up? Then where does the project go? Where does the last? People might say, what project? I agree. What project? Because when you think back to David Moyes' conversation he had with the West Ham media team when he first came back, he was at St Andrews, Russ, and he said the Red Bull model. They spoke a lot about the Red Bull model, but you look at our back line last night and you see an aging back line, and you don't see the Red Bull model, and you see Ben Johnson on the sidelines and Harrison Ashby not getting a chance, and that's difficult to look at and listen to when you don't see it happening on the field. But equally,
it's true. Yeah,
we've not had a lot of luck.
It's true. And I mean, and again, and that's why I did the show the other day about who potentially could be the next manager of West Ham. No, it's no assumption that, Moyes is when if he will go eventually, I mean, we don't get the John Lyles, and I mean, don't forget, John Lyle took us down, didn't he? And then it's not like some of our greatest managers of all time have been relegated with West Ham. But for someone but you look at who's like the names that have been touted around now. We've Nuno Santos, Rafa Benitez, Sean Dyche. It's going to be, in terms of the situation we're in now, it's not going to be a progressive manager. It's going to be we need a firefighter in. That's who it's going to be, realistically. And then in the summer, it may be it'll be a short-term appointment. Now, if it was like 3 or 4 games, 5 games into the season, and this decision was made, then you could get someone who because he has a little bit of time to put together things and bring people in and da-da-da-da. The manager who comes in now needs to literally go from day one.
Yeah. Let's bring in our first guest. Well, it's not a guest. I mean, he's not been on for a little while.
No,
but he's coming. He's coming all the way from South Africa. It's Richie boy. Rich, how you doing, mate?
Hey lads, very well, thanks. How you guys doing?
Yes, not bad at all, mate.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. Listen, Richie boy, we're going to have quite a lot of guests coming up, right? So I appreciate your time. But I am going to put a timer on because we've got loads of people due coming in. So don't you be stressing about what you're about to see up in the top corner. Go for it, mate. Give us your opinion. Let us know everything.
Oh, wow. It's another very damaging defeat for us. 19 games into the season, half the season gone, and we tied rock bottom. So it's a very damaging defeat. There's just no confidence in the camp at the moment. You can see it. Our finishing is nowhere. And yeah, I honestly, truly believe it's time for Moyes to go.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about that, I think my biggest concern, Rich, is, if we've got a problem, we find a solution. What is the solution?
That's the $1 million question, isn't it? There's not a lot of premium managers available that will come to a club like West Ham in a relegation scrap, because that's what we're in at the moment. We cannot deny it. David Moyes is ultra relaxed in his interviews post game every single week, and he seems to think that everything is fine. But the honest fact is we bottom of the league halfway through a season, and that's simply not good enough. We've had 2 great seasons in Europe, probably the best 2 seasons I've watched, other than the last season at the Bowlin, as a West Ham fan. And David Moyes has brought us so much joy in those 2 seasons. But fact of the matter is this season's been dismal. And, West Ham fans have had to travel to Wolves. We've got such loyal support, and they deserve better. Simple as that. He should be getting way more out of the players that he has at his disposal.
Do you think there's a lot of people arguing, and sometimes I've said it as well, luck plays a big part in what goes on. I mean, have we been unlucky, or is it simply down to the dinosaur tactics of David Moyes, Rich?
I think, to be honest with you, and it comes to a point where you also have to make your own luck. And, we're just not creating enough clear-cut chances. We're not showing enough attacking threats in the final third. We just look lethargic. I'm watching teams like Bournemouth, and sometimes, their build-up play and forward play is better than ours, faster than ours, more intent, more direct. There's not much of a game plan. And we've been unlucky. That we have had times where we've hit the post or had chances cleared off the line or whatever. But at times you have to make your own luck. And I don't believe David Moyes has done enough tactically to help us win games.
No, you're probably right. I think that's the thing. I think, and again, I say this, but football is based on fine margins, and this is not even during the dizzy heights of the last 18 months or before that, the previous 18 months, 2 years. We weren't rolling teams. Very rarely were we rolling teams over. We were winning by the odd goal. We were losing, and a lot of times I remember us doing reviews afterwards saying, God, we were lucky there to win that game. And actually, where we were getting that odd goal, now we're not getting that odd goal. And it just seems like, and it seems that I can't get it. I can't stand it. It's like yesterday as well. It's like, although today I rewatched the Moyes post-match press conference, and he looked really like a man on the edge. Usually he looks like, as you said, quite confident, but he didn't look like that yesterday at all. And he looked like a man who was probably waiting to see what was going to happen to him in his job. To be honest, that's what it sounded like yesterday. His face was pensive and stuff like that. But
how much time do you think he's got? Honestly,
he's got the Everton. I think, well, by all accounts, he's got the Everton game.
Yeah.
Do you think that's right, Rich? Do you think that's right? Do you think he should get the Everton game? I mean, what do you genuinely think? I mean, it's not been great, but we are in a unique situation. It's the 15th of January, and we are at the halfway point now, which is normally a month ago. Really, we're normally a month ago, so we're a month behind. So, is that what's favouring him? Is that why we're sticking by him just now, or do they genuinely believe he's got the right tools or the right ability to get us out of it? I was on a stream earlier on with young Jake, and Charlie was talking on the stream, and he was saying, this right now reminds me of the end of Pellegrini. And I said to Charlie, look what happened when the end of Pellegrini. Look who we went to, David Moyes. So, it's like, do we twist and go with Deitch, or do we stick and stay with the manager who also could keep us up? It's not ideal.
Yeah.
Well, I think the fact of the matter is we don't know. Doesn't matter what we say. Doesn't matter what any channel says, what any Twitter feed does, whatever he's going to be here till the Everton game.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what do we do? Well, it's it's almost like this conversation is really for a week later, but it shouldn't be really. It should
I'm pretty
be.
sure we'll have another one a week later.
I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be. But I mean, like today in the Telegraph, you've got Matt Law, Jason Bird, good journalists, good West Hammy journalists as well. They've said that West Ham are considering Moyes' replacements now, and because of the form we're in, it's going to be a short-term option. And it's going to be a short-term option. We're not going to go in and you're not going to wake up, say, if God forbid we lose to Everton and they decide to give them the old tic-tac, we're not going to wake up on Sunday with Pochettino at the London Stadium. Yeah. We're not. We are not. Thomas Tuchel, we are not. Maybe in the summer, possibly, but not now. And so it's going to be a Santos, it's going to be a Benitez, it's going to be a Deitch, and it's going to be a bum fight to get them because Leicester are going to do it soon as well, pull the trigger on Brendan Rodgers, and Everton are going to pull the trigger on Frank as well because they need to. So it's going to be, then you're going to be scrabbling around.
I'll take Rodgers if Leicester gave him the boot. I worry because Wolves was a must-win. Everton is 100% a must-win. And surely, if
lads,
you're going
sorry, just give me 2 seconds. Richard, stay there, mate. Who we got? We've got someone calling in. Who's calling in? Is that you, Cess?
Yes, it is.
Cess, mate, how you doing? Can everyone hear Cess okay?
Yep.
Right, Cess, mate, let's come over to you, Cess line. So, Cess, you were at the game yesterday. You're yelling up and down the country. I'm intrigued to hear your kind of opinion on it.
Where do I start? We looked at the line. I was like a bit puzzled with Moyes' decision with the lineup. Then it got to the game, and it was just awful. It was just an awful game, really, to watch, in my opinion. It's just the same issues that we've had time and time again. We struggle to create, we struggle to pass, and we struggle to defend. And it's time and time again, we're just getting it completely wrong. And it's just got to the point where we need to win this game, and we've bombed it completely.
I want to ask you something, Cess, because 9 times out of 10 when we've spoken, we're normally kind of agreeing on the situation at West Ham. But we do go back to this scenario where when we're in trouble, we look at a specific manager that can try and keep us up. And this happened before with West Ham, and we went to the man who's in charge of us right now. Yeah, things don't look right, but when there's a problem, we look for the solution. I'm repeating myself, and the question to you is, if we don't do well after the Everton game, and Moyes is out the door, who are you bringing in, mate, that can change this around? Who can push us up this league?
It's a tough one. That is a real tough one. That's the biggest dilemma. Is who do you bring in? Because the choices are around at the moment are not too promising. Yeah, you could say a lot of names, but it doesn't really look promising, really. It is a difficult one. It is a tough one. I really don't know. I don't know who's going to come in and sort this, because I think at the moment we're in a situation where other teams around us, they got rid of their managers, and now they seem to be on the up and seem to be playing a bit better. Whereas we're continuing to stick with Moyes, it's getting worse, and I don't want it to get to the point where we're going to keep continuing having Moyes, and then it's just the performances are not going to be there, and it's just going to get worse and worse, and it's to the point where with no return, which is potentially relegation. So it's a tough one. It really is a tough one. It's just the performances there. It's not been good enough. The players have they do have to take the brunt of it as well, because some of them are not pulling their weight massively. Some of them are hiding, I believe. But yeah, at the same time, it's down to Moyes and his tactics and everything. We're just being found out. We've been found out for over a year, and it just seems to looking to continue to play the exact same way. I don't know. It's just at the point now, I just lost my words.
Yeah, I know it's a struggle, but do you believe that? Do you believe in the project at all, or is that long gone from your mindset? The project that he was trying to do.
I did at first, but now it just seems that it's just not working. It really is not working at all. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know, and I really don't know anymore. It's just because I walked out that stadium just in absolute rage, and there's been so many games where I've walked out just in disgust.
Another thing then for you, Cess, is and sorry, Rich and Russ are on as well, but they can't talk to you, Cess, but they can hear you. It's just the way this is set up, and we'll try and get that resolved through the season. But
absolutely,
do you think that? I've lost my train of thought there, Russ. I totally thought I was going to say lost my train. That's what West Ham's doing to us all just now. I mean, the biggest problem here is that we've got the Everton game coming up. They're in a lot of problems, Cess. We're sticking with Moyes until the Everton game. If we get a result, are we papering over the cracks? If we don't get a result, will we twist and bring someone in on a short-term deal? And what will that do for the future of West Ham? It does become indefensible when you listen to Moyes' history of what he says about the club, project Red Bull, young players, but then you look at our defensive. I mean, you're a defender, and I mean, looking at our defense yesterday must have been a very frustrating thing, seeing Zuma on the bench, Johnson on the bench, Ashby nowhere near the team. That's something that must frustrate you.
It does. Yeah, it just really confuses me. It really does confuse me because it's like, does he trust these players? Does he trust the youth? Do we have anyone that's with a bit of youth that can come in to this side? It's a kind of a difficult situation that we're in at the moment, because now we've basically got like near enough the oldest squad pretty much going, and you're looking at all the players that are still playing. Like we got Ogbonga, who's like, was he like nearly 34? And you got like Creswell, who's like
33.
Getting on the bit of base. We've got a lot of players that are getting on a bit, like at least 5-6 players that are probably in the starting lineup or as a squad player, which we probably need in the summer. Whatever happens, regardless, we're gonna need to invest again. We're gonna need to invest again, especially in the defenders.
Yeah, that's the other concern. It's like we're talking about the transition we're making now, but come the summer, when we've got potentially 8 players heading out the door, there's another big transition coming our way. But maybe it is the right time for West Ham to look at the next project now. When this transition happens, it's just what we do in the short term to make sure we as a club survive and stay in the league. I suppose the final question, because we've got loads of people lined up, Cess, coming in. So the final question is: stick or twist? And if you twist, who do you want in if you had to choose someone now?
I'd probably say twist. Like, I've got to the point where I feel that he does have to go. He does have to go. But to get one person in, ideally, and you're going to be surprised by this, I'll say Vincent Kompany.
I've heard his name getting touted. Yeah, I think you said it before, Russ, and heard his name touted around quite a lot. And and then have Bellamy as number 2. Yeah, Bellamy, Craig Bellamy making a return to the club. I just don't know if that's the mindset of the owners, the mindset of the Premier League, the way it is. Something needs to change. Obviously, it just looks like we're going to be sticking with Moyes for the short term. Whether it's going to be the long term, I don't know. I mean, loads of people calling for Mark Noble to take in as an interim. Are you not up for that?
I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah.
Till the end of the season. If it's someone that can give them all a kick up the backside, it's him.
Yeah. Well, Cessy boy, thank you very much, mate. We've got absolutely loads of people queuing up to come in. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us, mate, and we'll get you back on soon, because I'm assuming we're going to be having very regular conversations about this over the coming weeks.
I'm gonna hop off for a bit. I'll chat to you boys
right.
soon.
I
Take
can
care.
tell you that.
Right, cheers, Rich. We'll get you back on as well, mate. Take it easy. Cess, we'll definitely get you back on. We'll do a big kind of show coming up over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, no problem, right.
Right,
Take care.
cheers,
have a
mate.
good
Take
one.
it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Interesting points there, but the main feature I'm getting, Russ, is that as much as we all as fan base are saying, let's get him out, people are kind of struggling to give you the relevant answer and about who's coming in.
Yeah, that's the issue. It's everyone and everyone will say, oh, anyone apart from Moyes, but then when you say, okay, well, Sean Dyche is going to come in, I don't want Sean Dyche. Well, that's anyone apart from Moyes. That's who we're going to get. It's like you're not, as I said, looking at in terms of, and Dyche was apparently at the Leicester game, Leicester Forest game the other day. So there's going to be clubs looking for him. We need someone to come in who's going to basically be a firefighter for the 6 months. Short-term deal. That's what it's going to have to be. Short-term deal. Because there's no way we're going to get our progressive manager in. As you said, there's going to be a situation...
Russ, 2 seconds. Caller, you are there. I'll come to you in 1 second, okay?
All right, so he's muted anyway. So yeah, so for me, it's like, at the end of the day, you're going to get a situation where it's almost you need to look at the two in isolation now. We've got 6 months. 6 months, 5 months. 5 months left of the season. You need to get someone in to do a 5-month job, 6-month job. Basically, you need someone to do a Moyes with Pellegrini and Moyes with after bit. That's what we need. We need someone to come in and do that because, as you said, then a progressive manager comes in the summer. More players, more managers will be available in the summer. The likes of Potter may be moving on. Then you maybe have a better chance because we could end up bloody staying up and winning the bloody Conference League easily, knowing West Ham and being in the bloody and being in Europe next year. That promotes you in terms of a higher manager, and then it helps with the rebuild job as well. But yeah
absolutely. This will be our last caller for the show because it's only a short and sweet one. But because we know there's going to be a lot of topic around it, we're just going to hold in a little kind of short one for you to give people some of their voices who have said they would like to have done it. So this is, of course, Budgy from the Green Street Elite Team and also a regular on the West Ham Network as well. Budgy, mate, how you doing?
Hello, Anton. Hello, Ross. How are you guys? I'm very well, mate. Thank you.
Yeah, good, thank you. Russ can hear you, but he can't talk to you because of the way that we've got this set up, so we do apologise.
Right,
anyway,
okay.
Budgy, mate, you watched the game yesterday. Give us your thoughts.
Well, I was very disappointed, I've got to be honest, right from the outset. From the lineup, why he's not playing Ben Rama or Skamaka from minute one is absolutely beyond me. There are two highest scorers of the season, and they're both only on 3. That tells you a lot about how we're playing right now, I think.
Yeah, it's a big. It's definitely a big struggle, mate. I mean, listen, I know you're a regular watcher and you get involved in wheel wagon and stuff like that, and I've tried my best to be taking my time on my decision whether or not I want Moyes in or out. I don't think it's as easy as just shouting Moyes out when we don't know what else is out there. I've not enjoyed the football I've watched, but I do also believe there's been elements of unluckiness in our season so far. But I certainly don't think Moyes has made decisions that has helped the scenario. So things like Souček getting included, and comments like Agard from his press conference the other day, which did piss me off a little bit. Agard should be 19 games into the season by now. However, he will need time to adjust. Well, I'm kind of a little bit like I'm past that time to adjust into the league because Agard is quite clearly ready to play in the Premier League week in and week out. He is clearly ready to do that. Zuma, who's trained all week, is clearly ready to play. It's easy for me to say he's clearly ready to play, not be in behind the scenes. But, when the back's against the wall, if you've got a player that needs some game time, you'd rather start with Zuma than an edgy Ogbonna who is slower. There's no ifs or buts about it. He is slow in the uptake now.
I would rather start. I would rather start with the 90% Zuma than probably. I mean, okay, I'm not going to put Craig Dawson into that category, but any of the other defenders that we have, any of the other centre backs that we've got, I think a 90% fit Zuma is the best that we've got. You know what I mean? He's better than the rest, if you know what I mean. In defence, again, he's also, he's 90% fit. He's as good as Zuma. And I think that's going to be our best pairing. And that, unfortunately, as much as I love O'Connor, I think his day is done. I think he's, at best, he's an emergency defender.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think.
So the biggest really point and the biggest thing in the title here is, let's talk David Moyes, stick or twist. So the question I'm going to ask you, Budgy, is, do West Ham stick or twist? It looks like we're going to stick until the Everton game at least, but let's take us past the Everton game and let's just say, worst case scenario, we don't win it. Do West Ham stick or twist? And if we twist, who do you want us realistically to bring in that you think can turn it around?
Well, I'm quite vocal about it already, actually. I think Moyes should have gone before the World Cup break, or during the World Cup break even. And we should have had a replacement in place there and then. And he would have been working with the team, or what was left of the team other than the World Cup, players. He would have had some kind of head start on the league. And I don't think we would have been playing as poorly as we have been. I think we should twist, but who do you get in replacement? Realistically, there's a lot of names going around, and of the names that I've heard, being mentioned and linked with the job, maybe not so much linked, but maybe favoured choices of some of the fans and other YouTube presenters. I think my favourite would have been Big Ange Postecoglou. But realistically, are we going to get him in the middle of the season?
It definitely, it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one. I mean, I'm seeing comments online, see people saying, I'll accept anyone. I certainly wouldn't accept anyone. Absolutely not. And earlier on I mentioned about the situation where, during the Pellegrini era, when we saw similar things going on, who did we rely on heavily? It was David Moyes. I get this comment as well from Moyes Collective, and I know there's an element of joking there about it. He says, need to stick with Moyes and get relegated because he get us to the semi-finals of Europa League. He has credit in the bank, and I think a lot of people think that. And yeah, I can't really use that argument anymore. It's just now about West Ham need to get ourselves out of this situation and progress as much as we possibly can. And who's the best person for us to do that? I did a show earlier on, 5 things we learned from the game yesterday, and I mentioned quite a few things. It's like, does Moyes know his best starting 11? Does he know his best formation? Our aging defence, and all that sort of stuff. It's like, do the players look deflated? I suppose that's one of the biggest concerns. Do the players look deflated? And if they do look deflated and are deflated, are they then playing for Moyes? Are they playing for the badge? And at that point, shit, man, it's not going to look good, is it?
No. A lot of valid stuff there. Angela. And I agree with 99% of it. But to add to it, I think there's also the case that, I think Moyes does know his starting 11, his best starting 11, when they're fit. But I think he's afraid to use them. He's had issues with, Ben Rama, we know that. But he also knows that Ben Rama's probably one of the most reliable attacking players that we've got right now. He's bagged himself 3 goals this season. He would have had a lot more if he had played more games. There's no doubt in my mind anyway. But I do believe that Moyes knows his best starting 11, but, is he prepared to use them?
Or can he get them all on the pitch at the same time is the other problem as well. It's like,
that is the problem. I think Maxwell Cornet is probably good enough to be sort of fighting for one of those 11 slots when he's in form. And he generally is in form. He's just never bloody fit. And Skamaka again. I really feel for him because when he was playing at Sassuolo, he was absolutely on fire, getting 30 yarders and tap-ins and nod-ins and headers from outside the box, beating the keeper and all sorts of goals, and he's just not getting that kind of service from the players on the pitch, and I think, again, he's suffering a similar fate at the moment to that of Sebastian Haller. I mean, a lot of us called for him to go because he wasn't producing, the golden egg every week, and, to me, I think that, that Scamacca could be a victim of a similar circumstance.
To be honest with you, Budgy, mate, I mean, before I carry on, Gary, thank you very much. I'm not planning on getting a haircut, though, so apologies for that, because I'm going for the old Viking look. That's the idea, so I do apologise, but I appreciate it anyway. Budgy, that's the concern I suppose I've got is the history with us and strikers. We all know the history, but I go back to Chicharito. I mean, we didn't really play to the strengths of Chicharito. We had one of the all-time greats, really, for Mexican football, who's prolific in the box, and we didn't put the ball into the box for him enough to put the ball into the back of the net, same as Sebastian Haller. And now there's this ongoing case about the amount of times we play the ball into the box or lack of, and the lack of set pieces and all that sort of stuff. So there's definitely concerns there. Budgy, mate, I know you're going to be coming back very soon, but any give us your kind of sum up of the situation before we head on.
Well, I mean, I think, as I said, I think David Moyes' time is very, very close to coming to an end. He's devoid of any kind of ideas to change things up in any way, shape or form. He sticks to a format that he believes works. It's clearly not. There needs to be some kind of change at the top of the tree there, and I do believe that with the players that we've got in our squad, with a forward-thinking, progressive type of manager, then I reckon, we could be challenging for Europe regularly, with the players that we've got right now.
Yeah.
And that includes Declan Rice.
Yeah.
I think we should do everything in our power to keep that man at the club. Yeah. And I think maybe he should be consulted as to who David Moyes' replacement is going to be. I know, obviously, that
I don't know, Budgy, because I don't know if I want us to go down the Mbappe route. Well, listen, if we had Mbappe, it'd be a different ball game. But giving him all the big decisions, etc. Budgy, mate, thank you so much for coming on. No, absolute pleasure.
Cool. No problem, mate. It's a pleasure to talk to you, and I will see you soon. Hopefully on Old School Hammers.
Absolutely.
On the return of that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, buddy.
Mate. Look after yourself.
Brilliant. Okay, take care. Bye, Ross. Take care, mate. Bye.
Russie B. Interesting, isn't it? It's a tough one, man. Listen, and I agree with your sentiment about the situation, which is we are in the situation where we know Moyes is going to be in charge. We know that. We know he's going to be in charge now. It's just about, I think, normally how I work in life and how probably a lot of people do, especially in a workplace. In a workplace, is if you're not performing, then what's your how do you resolve that? How do you resolve that? And if something's, I was talking to my dad, Russ, before we came on, and my dad was saying, listen, the next 19 games of football under David Moyes aren't going to be pretty. So West Ham fans need to get that out of their heads, yeah. But if we bring in Deitch, the next 19 games of football ain't going to be pretty.
If we bring in Benitez, the next 19 games are not going to be injured. If we bring in Neil Warnock, if he doesn't go to Cardiff, then 19 games. So.
But the only way we don't play the next 19 games in a defensive manner is by looking at someone like, say, Vincent Kompany or Bielsa. But the risks are there.
The risks are there, and I think
at teams you'll concede.
Yeah, and I think the thing to me is I know if you I grasping at straws. I appreciate it. That bottom three, the goal difference. We've still got, that is a point. That is a point when it comes to the end of the season, when we are scrabbling round, because we will be scrabbling round for relegation now, and this is a massive upturn. As I said, when you're looking at I've been through the last 10, 12 seasons of the Premier League, the teams that are the three teams in the bottom three, 66% of the time go down. and that's an average across. Some years it's all three. Some years it's just two. Some years it's only one. But we're in a relegation battle, and that's what we need to do. We need to put up our socks and play it out. And in the summer, it's a different conversation. In the summer is a different conversation. But I think it's a situation now where no manager's going to come in who's going to play pretty foot. We need someone to come in. We need someone like an Alan Pardew type presence for 6 months. So he's going to come in and just knock some heads together and get going. Maybe after a while, sometimes when you hear the same things being said all the time, players do switch off and switch out. And maybe, Irvine not being there, maybe Pearce not being there. You don't know. We don't know what goes in day to day in the training ground, but it needs another voice. Even if it's Mark for 6 months, Jared Brooking did it. Kevin Keane did it 3 times, though he never won a match, but he did it 3 times. Brooking did it twice. That's what's needed. But at the end of the day, it might even be, it could even be with Moyes just to get another person in, just another voice, just to treat this as you said, this is like a mini season now. It's 19 games, and we need to. What are we on? 15 points. 15 points. I think we're on, aren't we? 15 points. So the famous 40. So you need 25 points to get the 40 points. Yeah. So out of 19 games, you need 25 points. Realistically, maybe 38 might be all right, but you need 40 points. You need to aim for 40 points. That's 25. That's 7 wins basically. So 8, 16, 24, 8 wins and a draw in 19 games.
One thing for sure, Russ, is that we know either way, whatever happens, big changes are coming at West Ham. Maybe not so much in the short term, but in the longer term, they are. Loads of reasons. If Moyes stays or goes, the summer, because we've got 8 players out of contract, big things are happening, whether we're going to be in the league or whether we're not. Either way, big things are going to be happening. And I think that if they're going to back Moyes and he keeps us in the league, then the big decision in the summer is, can he then progress us? Because the next 19 games, Russ, if we stay up, we're playing in very good form. That's here we go. We're going to have if we stay up. We're going to have the next 19 games are going to be exciting and good. If we're going to stay up,
you're right, because we'd have to have won at least half of them.
Yes. So then at that point, and whatever manager comes in, it's going to be the same. So we've got, like Peter Chelmsford, we shouldn't have been in this situation. It's 19 cup finals, and I think that's my biggest concern. It's like the style of football that potentially we're going to be playing now over the next little while. Is the football that I would have expected, not in the first 19 games. I would have expected it now. Not in the first 19 games is where I would have kind of gone a little bit. If you were going to do it and be experimental, go a little bit gung-ho. But when you look at the situation with Leeds, for example, and you look and people talk about Leeds Man City, Leeds gave it a go. I get that whole element of giving it a go, but they got beat 3-1. And the Leeds fans are fucking raging. I don't want Marsh in charge, but he sometimes takes games to teams. And it's where are we at? And we've got very good players, but we've been in a scenario before where you can't be too good to go down. I think the only thing in the footballing world, not YouTube, not me and you, but the only thing that's keeping the situation where it is it's the halfway point now. That's, I think, the biggie. If we were 22, 23 games in, Russ, I think a decision would have been made, but we're not. So he's going to get to the 20th game, and he needs to win it. Or maybe not.
It needs, to me, it needs something. It needs something. A shot in the arm. That's what it needs. It needs a shot in the arm, and it needs, it just, for me, it's about just making sure we don't fucking concede. That's what we built our success on the last two, the 2 seasons we talk about. We built our success on not conceding and getting the odd goal. And we're conceding sloppy goals, and we keep conceding sloppy goals. And now we've got a situation where we could have the defensive partnership that Moyes has wanted since last summer, with Zuma back in, and again, that's the 2 he's always wanted. He's always wanted them. And he got Zuma last year, and he got
there was the chance.
Yeah. Exactly, and for me, it's like that. That's it. That's your side. That's the side you want. You wanted those two centre backs. You've got those two centre backs. If we concede against Everton, then and we have a really crap defensive game, then that's on him because that's what he wants. That's what he wants. He wanted those two, and he got them. He hasn't been able to play them realistically this season, and I think and we've built everything from that defence. If your defence is solid, Paqueta doesn't have to worry about running back so much. So he can play. He can pick up the ball from a slightly more advanced role. The fullbacks, the wingers have to worry about tracking back as much because they're sure that the defence is going to sort them out. Look at Everton. Everton aren't conceding a shitload of goals, but they're not scoring them. We're in the same position, and it's going to take. I mean, we've got -10. They got -11. I mean, Southampton. I think Southampton. I think Bournemouth are going to be creeping into that. That one and maybe Leicester on a slide as well. So there's going to be teams dropping into that relegation battle, but we need to stop conceding goals. That's it, and then we got more chance. Then if we score one goal, we win the game rather than we score the one goal to just draw. And then the play, you could see how nervous the likes of Bowen were towards the end. They were trying extra hard. And then when you're grasping, when you're being desperate to trying to move forward, you make even more mistakes because you're so nervous. You can see how nervous the game was. Wolves, we had a great opportunity to have come out early doors yesterday and just battered Wolves for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and their crowd would have gone dead. Because they're as shit scared as we are. And it's the same with this one. It's the same with Everton. I guarantee Everton on Saturday, if we don't come out the traps, they'll come out the traps straight away. Yeah. And I sound like Moyes, but that's the truth. To come out and just silence everyone. And so I would love them to come out and really have a go for the first 20 minutes and silence the booers at the stadium and get everyone on the side, because that's what it is. Come 3 o'clock on Saturday, that's what we need. We need 60,000 fans on the West Ham side because they're going to get these lads aren't used to this type of thing either.
Yeah. Right, Russ, anyway. We have got loads we can talk about, but we're going to keep this one short and sweet. Alf's kicking in.
We need a grumble.
Alf. When we need that grumble, mate. We need that grumble. I can expect that grumble this week.
Exactly.
If anyone doesn't know and is interested in motorbikes, you need to go across and check out Revelator Alf. Fantastic channel. Really good. I really enjoy it, and I don't even know anything about motorbikes.
Me neither.
And I watch it. So, good to see Alf. So, join Russ tomorrow. He'll be on doing the old player ratings. There'll be Hammers headlines, you name it, as we get ourselves ready for the Everton game. And we all know the topic of conversation is going to be this week, what it's going to be about. Yeah. So, strap yourself in and get yourselves ready for an interesting week as a West Ham fan. We're used to it. We've been there, done that, wore a T-shirt before. But let's hope we can somehow have a miracle somewhere. If you're new around here, subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up, hit the bell notification. That will notify you when our shows do go live. If you're interested in becoming a channel member, hit on the join option as well. Russ, over to you for the final words.
Come on, you Irons. Doesn't matter with you. Doesn't matter. We're West Ham fans, and we've been, and we need to pull together as a fan base. We need to just. We know what's going to happen. We know we've got. Until the Everton game. That Everton game's crucial, and come on, you Irons. And thank you and there wasn't too much hate in the chat today from people, and that's you did make it subscribers only on the chat, so it stops, and I think that's good. But it's working. It stopped the bots. Yeah, so that's good. 18 fights indeed. Lovely.
Right.